Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. And in this video, we're going to answer questions. A lot of people asking questions about debt collector. They're dealing with debt collections and want to make sure that you get your answers. I'm going to answer them here, and I'm also going to write to you specifically on YouTube. One of the ones I had this morning was from individual who had a debt collection from state. I think it was Las Vegas area, and she stated that the debt collection company was in Atlanta, I believe, was in Atlanta, and they were attempting to collect the debt from her, and they actually messed up her credit, and she wasn't able to get something due to them, I guess, placing that information on the credit reports. And I had asked, well, is this from the lease, or is this, what is this all about? And she had stated that it was from the lease, that the actual, I mean, it wasn't from the lease, it was from damages that they claimed. And so let me tell you what you do when a landlord claims damages, and they will, a lot of landlords will do this. Some rightfully do it. Some will do it when there's some type of adversarial uh, relationship when that tenant leaves. So if you rent a place and then you have a security deposit and you leave that place, not on good terms, where you just move your stuff out and you leave and you don't clean up the place, they will usually take pictures and then they will make claims on damages, and they'll take it out of security deposit, and then they'll say, it was this amount was over that amount. And so you have to be very careful, or you'll be setting up a situation where they can do that to you. But now I understand and I feel that when these types of things happen, people are very emotional and they're just trying to move on and get to somewhere else so they can be comfortable. I mean, everybody wants to have a roof over their head. So what you have to do, and I'm going to explain two scenarios because I see this happen a lot to people where they had a lease and then they broke the lease, and then the company tries to come after them for all of these thousands of dollars to, for the remaining months of the lease. They actually cannot do that. They have to actually they have a right only to come after you for the amount before they release the place to someone else. So what you do is you always ask them, give me the documentation on when you release the place, because you're going to really be that's your starting point of where you're going to be owing money from. And then that's not including anything if they try to claim that there's some stuff that was messed up. And when there's also a rule that normal wear and tear is not technically counted as part of you losing your security deposit in most
Returning
states. It could
visitor.
be different in other states. Normal wear and tear. We're not talking about kicking holes and stuff and smoke in the rooms, and they have to repaint the walls. We're talking about just normal wear and tear. Not talking about carpet. If you had animals in there and stuff like that, they're going to charge you for that type of stuff. Talking about just normal wear and tear. Now, for this situation, they're saying that she said that everything was good with the lease ending out, but this was something that came later where they're making a claim that she owes this amount. And but let me something that we had figured out, or I had asked her because she had stated that it was past the legal statute of limitations, and I said, okay, well, are you sure? How long has it been since you had rented the place and everything was done and over with, and they sent you that bill? It has been more than 4 years. For that state, it's 4 years of statute of limitations. But they had this company in Georgia. She said no matter what, they're still trying to come after her. They don't want to listen, anything. So this is what I told her to do. In this type of situation where the company does not want to uh, go by the rules, and they're just trying, debt collectors just trying to be nasty and come after you, you need to send. That's where the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau would come in handy, because when you make that type of claim to them, where you're making a complaint about a specific company like a debt collector, they will pay attention to that and get some action for you. And especially if you have everything documented where it's past the legal statute of limitations, they're still coming after you. You've written them a letter. You can include the letter that you wrote to them, notifying them that it's past the statute of limitation, and then you're showing the harm that they did to you by placing information on your credit reports. This is one where actually it would fall right into the guidelines that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau would take some action on, because it would be an easy one for them. And then the other thing that you need to do is all debt collection companies have to be licensed by the state that they're doing business in. So then you reach out to your state for your state, and you can also do it for the state of Georgia, and you can reach out to them and say that this debt collector is violating the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act by coming after me for this debt. Number one, it's past the statute of limitations. Number two, I disagree with the amount. I disagree with what they're even talking about these damages are. No documentation was ever presented to me about these damages, and even if it was, it's past the legal statute of limitations to collect, and this debt collector is not going by the laws. So that's how you would handle that, if it's past statute of limitations or not past statute of limitations. That's how you would handle a debt collector that's not following the rules. So now let's go to the next one here. Another question. The person said that they had a signature loan. They're suing them. They put in the clause that this is an attempt to collect a debt, etc. They have to do that. And it said that he sent the VOD, which is validation of debt letter, which they said you got this off the internet. If you're serious and want to take care of this obligation, call us. And they sent copies of the app, the TILA, which is the application, and copies with the signature. Um, Potentially, number one, with them making that statement that you got this off of the internet, and if you're serious, that could be, uh, you know, potential harassment by them stating that. It's supposed to be just strictly business with them, not making any comments. Any comments that they make could be considered harassment, and you should file a complaint, and you could say those words, and you can say that you feel that this is harassment because you have a right to validate any debt that you believe is either wrong or something about it. You have a right to do a debt validation, and their comments are not professional, and they are a business and they have to remain professional. So number one, I would file a complaint again, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, because this is directly with a debt collector. I believe that you'll get resolution. If it was for credit bureaus, I don't believe you'll get resolution. And then the next thing is you file that complaint again with the state department that handles the licensing of debt collectors, and let them know that you believe, according to the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, that the comments that they made were not professional, and that you feel that they were trying to intimidate you by making that statement. So that's what you need to do with that. The next one here is, what can you do if you've already paid a debt collection company and the charge off is still on there and it's past the statute of limitations? You just have to submit to the bureaus that it's past the legal statute of limitations for that debt to be on your credit reports. Now, to be clear, you got to make sure that it is the statute of limitations. And I did financial year. Yeah, notify the debt collector, number one. And then number two, you can submit around to the bureaus notifying them that this should be coming off. Also, you need to, let's see, that statute of limitations. Oh, I misread that. They paid the collection debt collector company off for a charge off, and they learned that it was past the legal statute of limitations, and the charge off is still there, and it's past the statute of lim-. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna answer it the way I answered this on YouTube, and I'm also answer it the way that I'm understanding it now. If you pay a charge off to a debt collector that's past statute of limitations, you can get your money back. That's what I had wrote on there. That's how I had understood it the first time. You can write to them that you are now aware that you have paid a time barred debt that you should not have had to pay because it's past the legal statute of limitations. Now, on the other side, the way that I'm understanding this question now is that you're thinking that you paid the collection, it's still on your credit reports, and it's past the statute of limitations to be reported on your credit report. You just need to write to the bureaus, and you can write to that debt collection company that they need to remove it, that it is past the legal statute of limitations to be reported on your credit reports. Sorry for the confusion on that, but I answered both ways. Okay, this one here, December 2017. This was from the video that you can have surprise. You can sue if they easily. You can sue and win if debt collectors violate the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, USC 1692G, which is that if they call you before they send you a letter, that is a violation. Okay, 2017, I went to the hospital for COVID-like symptoms in 2017. The hospital, as a matter of fact, I'm going to mention that my wife and I and my son-in-law, my daughter, and my grandson at the time, we only had one at that time, we all had COVID back in 2018. We had caught COVID. Uh, they wasn't saying COVID-19 at that time, but it was a strain of COVID. And when my wife, she was actually, at that time, that was before her lung transplant, she was hospitalized over that. It was very difficult. I had a very difficult time dealing with it at that time. And that was back in 2018. So it says that symptoms in the hospital suggested that I get a very expensive MRI done on my lungs. I said no, but they still tried to charge me for the MRI. I never signed the bill, and the next day they turned the bill basically they turned over the bill to a debt collector for the MRI. Number one, if the debt collector sent you a bill and it had MRI on there, you need to request that they give you documentation allowing them to share your information with a debt collector, your medical information. That's a HIPAA violation. You'll notice a lot of the times that when a debt collector has a medical bill, they would just basically say this is a medical bill, period. They won't even get into what it's about because if they mention the services that you got, there's going to be trouble because they violated. You should also send to the hospital again that you did not want to have that MRI done and that you dispute them having that done. Worst case scenarios that they're gonna potentially try to see about doing a settlement on it. I'm not sure if you had insurance and why the insurance would take why the insurance wouldn't also take care of that. But if you didn't sign for it, it's going to be very hard for them to uh, come after you for the bill because when you could just tell them, hey, produce my signature uh, that I authorize those services. No matter what, you had a right for that, even if you have insurance. Here's another one here. It says that this is a mess. This was from CPV, says TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian only solved 2% of the complaints that they sent to them. Only 2%. This person said, this is a mess. I have to dispute inaccurate accounts over and over again, and they come back, state, and verify because a computer is doing a human's job. That is true. The way that they're doing stuff, and we don't even know if it's even actually making it to the computer all of the time. That's why you do have to do the work, and you have to just keep trying different strategies to get the job done. It is a job. It is a job to get this stuff done right. Um, Someone wrote here, that's because the public is the product, not the consumer. The CFPB, a government agency, the credit bureaus, and the banks are customers, so they're just doing what's best for their customers. Yeah, and I've talked about this on videos that the bureau's customers are the companies. I mean, we're the data, and we make them money by being their data. It's the same thing that was done with social media platforms and different types of things that are out there. And I read a story not too long ago that stated that uh, people are going to start learning what their value is as being data. That at some point in the future, in the future, we will get paid for the use of our data, like in sometime in the future. Like it went from companies being able to utilize our data, and then the companies sold our data to where the the company, and we were paying to be the data. Like we would get loans, we would buy magazines, uh, do all type. I'm talking even before email and all that stuff came out. We were actually paying companies, and then those companies were also benefiting by selling our data. Now, what happened is that when social media and a lot of stuff came about, is that we utilized their platforms, and that was the exchange. Like it was a way of us getting something for giving our data. And so the next phase that is coming along from what I read in this article was
Returning visitor.
at some point we would just get paid for providing our data. Like we would, the middleman would be taken away, and we would just say, company, if you want to uh, send this to me or do something, you have to actually pay me to read this information. That is actually coming, So you can mark this video that I'm making, and when that day comes, you will see that I was right about that. All right, we got one here. Anthony, what's up, Anthony? And Anthony said, honestly, I don't really think that CFPV is on the consumer side like people think. The the credit stuff is truly a big business. Right about that. Um, let's see. Here's one here. This one here is debt collection companies, lawyer. Oh, this was one I had already answered this one once before. Um, where debt collection company was trying to sue an individual, and they got a lawyer, and they said that they wanted $500 to go after it, to try to settle on a debt that was 900 and something dollars, and they ended up taking my information and doing it themselves, which is totally, you're right. And I had made in the video yesterday that there's not too many debt lawyers that will uh, go work on your behalf for a debt collection, because number one, they're gonna have to charge you by the hour, and it could end up costing you more to hire an attorney to actually work on a debt. The only time that you probably see this happening is if it's like major big time debt, 50, 60, 70, 80, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And
New visitor.
that would only be, if you're trying to do settlements, and they still tack on a percentage, 15% when they do settlements. So a lot of times, a lot of people just choose to work with a company like mine, where you're just going to approach and say, hey, let's just try to do settlements, because we don't take percentages. We give you the full discount on those settlements with our services. All right, I'm going to end the video here. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch
New
the
visitor.
video, What Makes Us Different. And if you don't have your credit reports or scores, remember everything starts there. Go to the website, the number 3scores.com. Grab those reports and review them. We'll even do a free review for you to tell you how we can help you if you want to have someone work on your credit for you. If you need my letters to stop debt collectors, link is below here. It's statute of limitations letter, debt validation letter, and the cease and desist collection activities letter. Make sure you ask your questions and post your comments. Thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and founder of the creditrepairshop.com.